In a small village in Africa, a man named Mandua appeared one day, claiming to have been sent by God. He called himself Prophet Elisha, saying he had been given divine power to heal the sick, solve problems, and bring prosperity. No one knew where Joshua came from, but his charisma was undeniable. His voice was deep and commanding, and he could spin words like a spider weaving a web. Mandua set up a small church, a modest shack with a tin roof and a wooden cross nailed to the front. But he wasn't alone. He had two loyal followers, Kaku and Miria, who acted as his assistants. They were the first to testify of his miracles, claiming he had cured Miria's blindness and brought Kaku wealth through a prayer. What the villagers didn't know was that Mandua had found these two in the city slums and promised them a cut of whatever riches they made together. Word of Mandua's powers spread quickly. Soon people came from neighboring villages to see. The man of God Mandua preached fiery sermons, promising deliverance from poverty, sickness, and bad luck. His most famous line was, "Faith without giving is dead. So your seed and the Lord will multiply your blessings." The villagers began to bring offerings, money, livestock, sacks of grain, and even pieces of land. They believed that giving more would make their blessings grow. Mandua used clever tricks to maintain the illusion of his power. If someone came to him with a fever, he would secretly give them a herbal remedy he had learned about during his wanderings. When they recovered, he called it a miracle. If someone was desperate for wealth, he would tell them to plant a prayer tree in his backyard, promising it would bring abundance. Of course, nothing grew on the tree, but Joshua always blamed it on their lack of faith. One day, a woman named Kokila came to the church. She was known for her skepticism and her sharp tongue. Her daughter had fallen gravely ill, and after exhausting all other options, she decided to see what Mandua the prophet could do. Mandua performed one of his elaborate healing sessions, waving his hands and shouting prayers. Kokila, desperate to save her child, handed over her life savings, a bag of gold coins. But the child did not recover. Instead, she grew worse. Furious, Kokila began to ask questions. She began to follow Mandua and his assistants secretly, and she found out where they came from in the city. Kokila decided to go to the city slum and inquire about Mandua and his assistants. The people in the city slum told her the truth about Mandua and his assistants and her. Suspicion was right. She was told that Miria, who claimed to have been blind, had always had a perfect vision. She also noticed that the so-called prayer tree in Mandua's backyard was thriving not because of divine intervention, but because it was being watered daily. Kokila started speaking out, warning others about Mandua. At first, no one believed her. They accused her of lacking faith. But as more people began to notice that Mandua's promises never came true, suspicion grew. One night, Kokila and a group of villagers sneaked into Mandua's compound. They found sacks of money and stolen goods hidden in his house. Furious, the villagers dragged Mandua out and confronted him. His smooth words, while using God's name in vain and fake tears, couldn't save him this time. Mandua fled the village under the cover of darkness, leaving behind his ill-gotten wealth. He was never seen again, but his story became a cautionary tale. The villagers learned a hard lesson that day. Not all who claim to be men of God are true, and blind faith without wisdom can lead to ruin.